Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention please? Our seminar is about to begin. Please have a nice seat. Thank you very much for your preparing yourself to join our seminar. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone. Respectable the chair lady of English Department, Mrs. Arya Timol, the honorable of the lecturers, all of the English Department, and the honorable all participants of this seminar. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dinal Zakia as the moderator of today's seminar. I am very pleased to see you here and welcome all of you to join this seminar. Today's seminar is about student exchange program. Our speaker today is Mr. Nadiem Makarim. He is one of the Minister of Education and Culture in Indonesia since 2019 until now. He has received bachelor degree in international relations in Brown University, America. After that, he has received master degree of business administration in Harvard Business School. Before the presentation begins, let me inform how the presentation will be going on. First, Mr. Nadiem Makarim will be invited to present these materials. After that, there will be question and answer session and followed by conclusion. Now, allow me to welcome the speakers, Mr. Nadiem Makarim, BA MBA, to deliver his presentation. Mr. Nadiem Makarim, the floor is yours. Thank you very much for Mr. Nadiem Makarim, BA MBA, for giving us such informative and interesting presentations. Ladies and gentlemen, now come to the question and answer session. I'd like to have 3 questions from the participants, please. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have already had 3 questions here. The first one is coming from Nadia Putri, asked about how about differences between studying in Indonesia and abroad. The second one is from Indriana Tri, asked about is it possible to apply American learning style in our country. And the last one from Soraya Nuron, asked about which do you want prefer, Indonesian or American learning style. Are you ready to answer them, Mr. Nadiem Makarim? Ladies and gentlemen, we finally to come and to the end of this seminar. Before I close the seminar, I would like to take the conclusion from what the speaker has presented. Education open more opportunities. There are many companies and institutions which will hire people with higher educational background even without work experiences. All we need to do is that only to keep trying until we get what we want. Besides, there is nothing wrong to keep studying. I believe knowledge that we obtain from studying in college will really useful for us. I'd like to thank the speaker for the informative and the interesting presentation and all the participation for the very active participation. Finally, give the applause for the speaker and for you all. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning to you all. The Honorable Lecturer of English, Mrs. Arya Timol, and the Honorable all participants of this webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Soraya Nuron, the moderator of today's webinar. I'm very pleased to see you here and welcome all of you to this webinar. The webinar is conducted by Education Management Department. This webinar will discuss about the creative young leaders for the better future. Ladies and gentlemen, the speaker today is Ayunda Faza Maudia, BA/MA MBA, or better known as Maudi Ayunda. She is a very inspiring actress, model, activist, writer, and singer. She just finished her studies at Stanford University, California. Maudi also published 2 children's story books entitled Kindness Story. Before the presentation begins, let's know the regulation how the presentation will be going on. Firstly, I'd like to give the time to Mrs. Maudi to present the material for about 5 minutes. Now, allow me to welcome the speaker, Her Excellency Mrs. Maudi, to deliver her presentation. Please join me in welcoming Mrs. Maudi Ayunda with a round of applause. Thank you very much, Maudi, for giving so much informative and interesting presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, now we come to question and answer session. I'd like to have 3 questions from the participants, please. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have already had 2 questions here. The first question comes from Nurul, asking about how to be still being active in this pandemic situation. And the second one is from Tika, asking about how to find out the great environment to bring up us to get out of from the comfort zone. Are you ready to answer them, Mrs. Maudi? Ladies and gentlemen, we finally come to the end part of this webinar. Before I close the webinar, I would like to take the conclusion from the speakers have presented, that being creative is not an inborn talent. Being creative is a necessity, not a compulsion. And you can use your best imagination to create your great creativity. I'd like to thank so much to the speakers for informative and interesting presentation and to the participants for very active participations. Hopefully, the webinar will be beneficial for everybody. Amin. Please give applause for the speaker and for you all. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. To Honorable Lecturer of English, Ma'am Ariati Maul, and Honorable participant of all in this webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, on this big opportunity, let me introduce myself as the moderator of today's webinar. I am Nadia Putri Zahra, whom to moderate the webinar would like to thank you all the participants that have joined today. I am very happy to see you here and welcome all of you to this webinar. Today's webinar is about how to succeed in creative business. Ladies and gentlemen, our speaker today is Putri Indasari Tanjung. Putri Tanjung is a CEO of Creative Planner of Event Creator and CBO Crave. Putri Tanjung was chosen to be one of the special presidential staff. Putri has finished the Academy of Art in San Francisco, United States. Before the presentation starts, let me tell you guys how the presentation will go. First, Putri Tanjung will be invited to present the material. After that, there will be a question and answer session followed by a conclusion. Now, allow me to welcome the speaker, Mrs. Putri Indasari Tanjung, to deliver the presentation. Mrs. Putri Tanjung, the floor is yours. Thank you very much, Mrs. Putri Tanjung, for giving such an information and interesting presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, now at the time the question and answer session. I have three questions here. The first one come from Soraya, was asked about how to succeed as a creative planner. The second from Nurul, what was asked about how to grow in the creativity, innovation, and collaboration at the same time. And the last one of Taras was asked about what must be done in order to still be able to combining business and creativity. Are you ready to answer, Mrs. Putri Tanjung? Ladies and gentlemen, we finally come to the end of this webinar. Before I close the webinar, I would like to take the conclusion from what the speaker has presented. The jobs will be lost by using technology. People must be able to change their mindset. The key is creativity, innovation, and collaboration. Also advise to stay away from the six mindset if you want to become a successful entrepreneur. The first is the hero mindset, which a mindset that makes people work on their own regardless of their surroundings. There is also another take mindset that is a people who only work according to direction, do not have breakthrough in their work. Third, there is the waterfall mindset, which is the mindset of giving up before starting or taking for this first step. There is also the role identification mindset, which only works to demonstrate the accomplishment of their role. Then there is the component mindset, which only focus on the work is holding, not looking at other people. Lastly, there is a quick and dirty mindset, which only think about the end result, not the process. According to Tanjung, all this takes a process, and failure is a lesson that must be accepted. Start learning to love the process. The process is the key. I would like to thank the speaker for the information and interesting presentation by Mrs. Putri Tanjung and all the participants for the very active participation. Finally, give the applause to Mrs. Putri Tanjung and to all of you. Thank you and see you next time. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya Rahayu. The Honorable Lecturer of English Miss Arya Timol and Honorable participant of all in this webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, on this big opportunity, let me introduce myself as the moderator of today's webinar. My name is Nurul Fitri Ardi, whom to moderate the webinar would like to thank you all the participants that have joined today. On today's webinar, we will discuss about a very particular topic, which is about nationality with the theme of Youth for the Nations. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce our keynote speaker who have joined us on today's special days, Shirley Anavita Rahmi. Shirley Anavita Rahmi is a young prestigious lecturer and entrepreneur. Shirley has finished both bachelor's and master's degree, taken place in different fields in different universities, where bachelor's in Paramadina University, Jakarta, on social science, and master in Swinburne University, Melbourne, on social impact investment. She also has participated in not few organizational work experience, such as being the Deputy Chairman of Nations Scout World Councils, Vice Chairman of the Yapena Junior High School, and the Vice Chair of Yapena High School Student Councils. Before we begin, let me explain the procedure of today's discussion. Firstly, Ms. Shirley will present her material, and then we will go right to the questions and answer segment, followed by conclusions. Now, allow me to welcome the keynote speaker, Ms. Shirley Anavita Rahmi, on today's webinar, Youth for the Nations. Thank you very much, Ms. Shirley, for the insightful presentations. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to open the questions and answer segment. I would like to get maximum of 2 questions from the participant, please. Ladies and gentlemen, first questions come from Sister Alvia. She asks a question: how can youth participate in advancing the nations in the educational field? Second question comes from Brother Zaid, which he asks about what needs to done by the youth to improve their quality in order to be able to advance the nation's quality synergically. So we would have the competitiveness among internations wide. Ladies and gentlemen, finally we come to the end of this very joyful and knowledgeable webinar. Before closing the webinar, I would like to conclude on what about we had from the discussion. Youth is the next generations of the nations. Hence, youth need to grow and advance in order to compete in the development of times. They need to keep growing and improve their abilities to advance nations-wide or even on scale of the world. Lastly, I would like to thank in advance our speaker, Ms. Shirley, for having the time discussing this interesting topic with us today. Also, thank you very much for the participants who have participated with us today. God bless and have a good day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone. The Honorable Lecturer of English, Mrs. Arya Timol, and the Honorable all participants in this webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Indriana Triherawati, the moderator of today's webinar. I'm very pleased to see you here and welcome all of you to this webinar. Today's webinar is about the importance of mental health awareness. Ladies and gentlemen, our speaker today is Mrs. Tara Adisti Taurus BA MC. She is a well-known psychologist in Indonesia who completed the double degree program with a BA in psychology from the University of Queensland, Australia. She graduated from University of Indonesia in the field of Masters in Adult Clinical Professional Psychology. She is also active in several activities such as seminars, psychological training, counseling and psychotherapy in the field of clinical psychology, psychological assessment, and has become a researcher for newspaper, radio, and television on Indonesia. Before the presentation begins, let me inform how the presentation will be going on. Firstly, I would like to give the time to Mrs. Tara Adisti to present the material for about 15 minutes. After that, there will be a question and answer session and followed by conclusion. Now, allow me to welcome the speaker, Mrs. Tara Adisti Taurus, BAMC, to deliver her presentation. Let's welcome her with a big round of applause. Thank you very much, Mrs. Tara, for giving us such informative and interesting presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, now come to the question and answer session. I would like to have 3 questions from the participants, please. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have already had 3 questions here. The first one is coming from Naya, asking about how to keep mentally healthy during a pandemic. The second one is from Rara, asking about where should I go if I feel I have a mental breakdown. And the last one is from Lucas, asking about what should I do if someone close to me has a mental health disorder? Are you ready to answer them, Mrs. Tara? Ladies and gentlemen, we finally come to the end of this webinar. Before I close the webinar, I would like to take a conclusion from what the speaker has presented. Mental health is an important thing that needs to be maintained. This does not only apply to adults who are productive, but children, teenagers, and even the elderly must be sensitive and aware of mental health. Mental health is also good for social life. Mentally healthy people will be able to communicate better, get along easily, and have healthy friendship. In fact, they are also better able to make a good contribution to the community or people around them. It's important to remember, mental health is something that should not be ignored and must be maintained as best as possible. Do the ways to maintain mental health that has been described above that your physical, mental, emotional, and social life are always in good condition. I would like to thank the speaker for the informative and interesting presentation and all the participants for very active participation. Finally, give the applause for the speaker and for you all. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention please? Our seminar is about to begin. Thank you very much for preparing yourself to join our seminar. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone. The Honorable all lecturers of the English Department and the Honorable all participants of this seminar. Today's seminar is about We Need Women for Change. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Priscilia Priyanka, the moderator of today's seminar. I'm very pleased to see you here and welcome all of you to the seminar. Today, Our speaker today is Angki Yudhistia. Angki Yudhistia was born on 5th May 1987. She is the founder of Disable Enterprise, a cadre of Indonesia Justice and Unity Party or PKPI, and she is deaf and disabled. Before this presentation begins, let me inform how the presentation will be going. First, Angki Yudhistia will be invited to present the material. After that, there will be question and answer session and followed by conclusion. Now, allow me to welcome our speaker, Angki Yudhistia, to deliver the presentation. Thank you very much, Angki Yudhistia, for giving us so much informative and interesting presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, now come to the question and answer session. I'd like to have you to question from the participant, please. Ladies and gentlemen, we finally come to the end of the seminar. Before I close the seminar, I would like to take the conclusion from what the speaker had presented. We need to remove the cultural expectation and politics that hold women back. Legislation is a part of the solution. I've testified about the business benefits of equal pay and paid leave at the Massachusetts State House, to the Department of Labor, and to members Congress, but laws take time that we don't have. And I'm often the only business leader who shows up. I like to thank the speaker for the informative and interesting presentation, and all the participants for the very active participation. Finally, give applause for the speaker and for me all. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you.